Hi there, how's it going? Today is October 17th. I am driving up from Mendocino County. I just spent the past 10 days at my mom's house in U.S.A. I am now driving up to Oregon. So I wanted to stop here and poke around a little bit, relive some old memories here in Arcata in Humboldt County. I'm currently in the Redwoods just outside of Humboldt State University. You can see a building poking through there. I'm going to walk through the campus and then go into town. This is just going to be like a quick, capture of Arcata as much as I can in just, like a few minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, because I'm driving north and want to keep on making progress today. But there is a lot to talk about from various time frames of my experiences here in Arcata and at Humboldt State University. I graduated from Humboldt State University in 2002 with a Bachelor of Arts in World Religions. I only went here for 2 years because I went to college previously in Alaska for 2 years, and then Mendocino Community College in U.S.A. and Santa Rosa Junior College. So it took 5 different colleges before I actually got my 4-year degree, which I then didn't really do much with. No, career in religion, obviously. So I'm going to tell a very quick memory right here that occurred right around this area right here, and then talk about something else related to the Redwoods here. So I was here from 2000 to 2002, and my friend Abram, who I mentioned in a previous video, who unfortunately I do not know where he is these days, but he came and visited me here twice with his wife and their daughter in probably 2000 and 2001, I think both times in the fall. So there is a disc golf course here, as you saw. The basket there at the beginning of the video is for disc golf. There's an amazing course all throughout the Redwoods here. We came out here and played a game, and Abram was walking along with his daughter along this path, and he slipped, and his daughter fell out of his arms, did a whirly, did like a flip or something and landed on the ground. Unfortunately, it was okay. And then we continued on with our day. But that was just one random memory that came up. But there's something else that I want to talk about, which is that before I graduated from college here in 2002, I had many experiences as a traveling vagabond passing through this area. And one time was more than just passing through. I camped in the woods here for a month. 25 years ago, right around this time, exactly this time, I think, maybe, mid-October, end of October, something like that, for a full month in the woods here in fall of 1997. The reasons for why I end up in the woods here is kind of a long story that I don't want to get too lost in, but reasons that you can imagine. I was out of money, didn't have a job, didn't have a home, blah, 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 and passed through here, had a tent and a sleeping bag, and decided to hang out here in the woods for a while deciding what to do next. All right, so here we are on campus. Here is the football field, home of the Lumberjacks. Very appropriately named team with all the logging around here. Student Recreation Center. So when I camped in the woods in 1997, and I made use of the showers in this building right here. This one I think is a new building, built since then. So the reason why I got a degree in world religions is not really because I actually wanted to get a degree in that subject. I wanted to get my degree in creative writing. That is what I was studying in Alaska. My book that is available on Amazon.com. The most hilarious thing that ever happened is a collection of short stories, fictional short stories that I wrote in Alaska when I was taking creative writing classes up there. I spent 1 year at the University of Alaska Fairbanks and 1 year at the University of Alaska Southeast in Juneau, and took creative writing classes every semester, and had these classes where you wrote stories in the classes. And so that book is a compilation of just some of the stories, probably like half of them or so, that I selected and then majorly re-edited for them to be, more publishable. And so I took a big break from university from 1992 when I left Alaska, and then came back down to California, lived with my father in Petaluma, went to one more semester of college at the community college, Santa Rosa Junior College in Santa Rosa, which is near Petaluma. And then I moved to Eugene, Oregon, planning to continue my education there, but very, very long story. That didn't happen. I never went to school there. Went on various vagabonding adventures, did one more semester at Mendocino Community College in U.S.A. there in spring of 1995, and then didn't go back to school until 2000 when I came up here. And so the next 5 years was a whole lot of wandering and traveling and vagabonding, mostly in the U.S., and then to India in 1999 and 2000. I had a class in there. It was about movies that are related to religion and spirituality. It was the coolest class because we would just watch a movie every class. It was like once a week, like a 3-hour class once a week. We would watch a movie in the class and then write an essay on it after class and turn it in for the next class. So that was just like it. Just watch a movie, write an essay. And so the reason that I didn't continue with creative writing here is because there is no creative writing program, or at least there wasn't at the time. There was a literature program, but not creative writing. Otherwise, I would have continued with that. And so I had to pick something else. And I just went down the list in the catalog and picked out world religions because I had, studied yoga and various spiritual disciplines, and knew that it would be interesting and a lot of essay writing, and it was basically just kind of to get my degree in something. So I have a memory from right here. Woody Harrelson gave a talk right here. He was on this environmental tour. He was traveling with a group by bicycle, something like that, or maybe solar power, some sort of a traveling and then giving talks along the way. And it was all about the environment and ecology and alternative lifestyle, something like that. And so I think that he was standing right over on the stairs there, and then a big crowd of students all around here. And then here is where I worked. The depot. I worked at a pizza place and a Mexican restaurant. Let's see if it's open. Nope. So I worked 20 hours a week. And then I lived in 2 different places. I will show both of them. One place for the first year and another place in town the second year. Let's go see the library. I have quite a couple of stories from there. So this spot by the library has significance to me. I will explain why in a second. So that is where I would sleep when I was passing through town. It looks different. It wasn't covered. There were planter boxes there. I would sleep in my sleeping bag right next to one of the planter boxes there. I did that like, I don't know how many times, like maybe, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, something like that, times that I can recall. When I was basically traveling, probably like from the area where I'm from in Mendocino County to Oregon and back, basically, on various hitchhiking road trips. I would have no money for a hotel, forget about that. Just like bare bones, vagabonding, hitchhike through with my backpack, either going north or coming back south. And sleep there for the night, and then you have the bathrooms there. And the books, you know, free to go inside a university library and take a break, get a book, find a dry spot to hang out for a little bit. And so I hung out here a lot during my month of camping in the woods. I read the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy. When I was a kid, I was a voracious reader. I read The Hobbit, and I remember starting the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which comes after The Hobbit, of course. But the trilogy didn't capture my attention as much as The Hobbit had. I guess I was just a little bit too young. And so I made it my mission while I was here hanging out to read the trilogy. And so I did, inside the library here. Now, the last time that I camped here on campus was in 2012. So I graduated in 2002. I was living in the woods in 1997. The other times that I slept over at that spot over there would have been in the 90s. But in 2012, I was coming down from Oregon and I slept in the trees right in there somewhere. I forget why I didn't use my usual spot over there. The advantage of that was it was actually a little bit covered. And so if it was raining, then you were protected. Maybe somebody else was there, or I don't know why, but anyways, I slept in the bushes right there. Okay, let's go take a look at where I lived the first year. And so there's the library right there. And so another story is that I'm writing a book that begins at the library. It is a book that I started writing a few years ago and really want to finish. So the book is about something that many of you will already know about. It is about the time that my truck broke down in the wilderness in 2016. So here are the apartments where I lived. I lived here twice. I'll get back to that in a second. I'm getting a little confused with all the different stories here. So in 2016, I was driving down from Oregon. I wanted to visit the Marble Mountains Wilderness area, which is an amazing nature area northeast of here, where I had gone as a kid several times with my family, and then again on my own back in 1998 and 2012. And then in 2016, I decided to come back here and go into the wilderness once again, backpacking on a multi-day trip. I was driving a truck that my brother had just given me like a week before that, and I stopped in Arcata to get ready for the trip, get food and stuff, and then I sent an email to my family from one of the computers or from my laptop or something inside the library there late at night, and then got out of there and drove out to the wilderness area and got started hiking the next day. And as I explain in the video, there's a whole movie about that, and then also in the book, my truck breaks down and that leads to a whole crazy series of events. I will put the link to that video about the broken down truck down below. So, I lived here twice, in 1996 and then in 2000 to 2001. And I think that that is where I lived, maybe right here. That was during the time that I was going to school here in 2000 and 2001. But in 1996, then I was deep in my vagabonding, homeless period of traveling around the U.S. And somehow I had the money to live here for, I think, 2 months. I wasn't going to the university. I might have arranged it while staying at my mom's house, something like that. I forget how it was all planned out, but it's still a mystery to me why I had the money to afford rent here for a couple of months, because I had so little money at the time. It was cheap rent. It was probably like $200, $250, something like that. Maybe I worked some job that I forgot about. But then when I came back from India in March of 2000, then I had no plans, no money, but I decided to go back to university, and long story short, managed to make that happen and came here in 2000 to 2002. So let's get off the campus here. So there's the price of gas, $6.20 per gallon. I'm going the wrong way right now. I will turn around, but I wanted to show someplace right up here, if it's still there. Haywan Mexican restaurant, not really a restaurant, more of just a burrito place. I'm not seeing it. Maybe they closed down. It was right down there. No, it's still there. Haywan Burritos, okay. So, in 2016, when my truck broke down, trying to get out to the wilderness, and then, another very long story, I sold the truck, and then went for the backpacking adventure anyways, got back into the wilderness area, and then I got lost on the last day coming out because the trail was barely existing. I hiked out a different trail from what I had hiked in and discovered that this trail that was supposed to go to a trailhead basically didn't exist, and put me in a very difficult spot. So while I was lost, it was a situation in which I was not certain at all that I was going to make it out of there. So here we are coming into the center of Arcata. While I was out there, I was thinking about a Haywan burrito. It was like this, carrot at the end of the stick that I was pondering, focused on, thinking about, just get to Haywan, just get to Haywan. And it happened. I didn't end up filming it. I was just too dazed and confused to bother with the camera at that point. But it's actually a whole crazy story about getting out of there from where the video ends, the movie that I filmed. Then it's a whole other story hitchhiking from there back into Arcata and getting back to civilization here. And that is what the book will be about, or it is the end of the book, of course, but the point of writing the book, even though there's already a movie about it, is that there were a lot of details that didn't end up in the video. A lot of other stuff happened. Okay, so this is the central square of Arcata. I gotta be careful about filming around here. Lots of, vagabonds and whatnot that don't want a camera pointed in their face. But I'm going to walk down to where I lived the second year when I was going to the university. So this is really the travelers and street peoples and hippies hangout spot at the little square here, but also where a lot of the cool shops are, and bars and restaurants. It is just a 10-minute walk up to campus. Nice small little town. Kind of a classic Northern California sort of Wild West facade with these old buildings. Moonrise Herbs, hemp and recycled organic solutions. store there, Hotel Arcata, a bar over there, Miranda's Rescue Thrift Store, People's Records. So a nice selection of unique establishments. And then where I live is a couple blocks down here. So here's where I lived from like September of 2001 until I graduated in June of 2002. I had that by myself. A reasonable rent at the time, I forget. I'm not sure why exactly I moved from the other place that was right next to campus here. This was probably more expensive. I can't remember at all. Maybe they were out of space up there or something. So there were two significant events that occurred while I was living there. The first is September 11th, 2001. I woke up in the morning, I had classes, I was getting ready, I turned on the radio. Basically, I'm listening to the news and I start to hear about a plane has run into the Twin Towers, and then another plane, and then the realization that it was a commercial jet airliner. When I first heard the news, I thought, oh, it's some little, two-seater plane or whatever. Somebody got lost or ran out of gas or whatever and accidentally flew into the building, and then, it developed from there. Classes were canceled for the day, and so I listened to the whole thing playing out throughout the day on the radio there. I didn't have a TV. The other thing that happened while I was there is that I got news that my first book was going to be published. Kundalini and the Art of Being. I was standing in the kitchen talking with Abram and his wife. During the time that they were visiting, I guess that would have been the second time that they visited. And we were talking in the kitchen and I got this phone call, and it was a publisher that I had mailed my manuscript to, Station Hill Press, saying they wanted to publish my book. Amazing. Unfortunately, it took a long time. When I got the call, they said that it was planned to be published in the following spring, so like spring of 2002. They strung me along for years and years and finally published it in 2008. So it took 7 years to get a book published. In the corner of that building used to be my favorite Mexican restaurant here in Arcata. But it's now a Subway. And then I would shop at the Safeway there. Okay, well, that is kind of it for the tour. It is a small town. As you can see, cloudy weather. It is sort of right on the edge of the very different climates of, like where my mom lives in U.S.A, then it is hotter and sunnier. And then going into Oregon, then it gets cloudier and rainier. And Arcata is kind of like right on that edge. And so it gets a bit of a mix of both, but it is kind of more in the rainy and especially cloudy. It's just like cloudy and gray a lot here. It is very close to the ocean, just right out there. Separated by a bay from Eureka, the larger town that is just south of here. But it has a good vibe, cool people. Of course, all of the, just intellectual activity of the university, and then the kind of hippie vibe, lots of health food stores and healthy restaurants. One last shot of the main square, and then time for me to get rocking and rolling, get up to Crescent City. Okay, that is it. So, I am planning to head next to Crater Lake in Oregon. Maybe make it there tomorrow. So, perhaps I will film a video while I'm there. We'll see. Alright, take it easy. See ya.